Welcome to our channel. Today, we will explore the Four Noble Truths, four profound truths. The Four Noble Truths are a core concept in Buddhism, created and taught by Siddhartha Gautama, Buddha, to help people understand suffering and the path to liberation. These four truths not only reflect the nature of life, but also open a pathway for those seeking peace and happiness. The truth of suffering, Dukkha. The truth of suffering describes the reality of suffering. Suffering can manifest in various forms: physical pain, psychological distress, and the sorrow from unmet desires. Diversity of suffering. Suffering is not just about pain from illness or loss. It can also stem from dissatisfaction with current life, feelings of loneliness, work stress, or failures in relationships. Specific example: a person feels suffering when losing a loved one, going through a breakup, or failing to achieve career goals. The truth of the origin of suffering, Samadhi. The truth of the origin of suffering identifies the causes of suffering, primarily rooted in craving, tanha, and attachment to material things and emotions. Analysis, endless desire. Craving leads to insatiable desires which create suffering. When we attain one desire, we crave another, forming an endless cycle. Attachment and anxiety. We often cling to what we have and fear losing it, creating anxiety and stress. Example: a person constantly yearns for wealth and fame. When these goals are not met, they feel disappointment and suffering. The truth of the cessation of suffering, Nirodha. The truth of the cessation of suffering asserts that suffering can be ended by relinquishing craving and attachment, leading to nirvana, a state free from suffering and turmoil. Analysis, acceptance of reality. To achieve the cessation of suffering, one must change their perspective and accept that life encompasses both joy and sorrow. Example: a person finds peace by letting go of unnecessary desires and living more simply, thereby appreciating the value of present life. The truth of the path to the cessation of suffering, Mega. The truth of the path is the way to end suffering, expressed through the Noble Eightfold Path, which includes right view, right intention, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. Practicing the Noble Eightfold Path. These practices help individuals develop their minds, enhance awareness, and lead a more meaningful life. For instance, meditation aids in mind control, reducing anxiety and suffering. Example: a person practices meditation to develop attention and awareness, helping them live in the present and find simple happiness in small things. In everyone's life, we can see the three poisons: craving, anger, and ignorance. The three poisons, craving, anger, and ignorance, are considered the main causes of suffering. Recognizing and understanding them is the first step to freeing oneself from these binds. Craving manifests as the desire to attain what we believe is necessary for happiness. Analysis, source of suffering. Craving is never satisfied. When we achieve one thing, we desire another. Greed leads to disappointment when desires go unfulfilled. Example: a person works hard to earn money, but when achieving wealth, they worry about maintaining it, leading to suffering. Anger, dosa. Anger is the feeling of rage, hatred, or negative reaction towards others or circumstances. Analysis, harm of anger. The emotion of anger not only causes suffering to others, but also harms oneself. It increases psychological stress and can lead to violent actions. Example: a person is angry with a colleague for feeling oppressed at work. This anger can lead to conflict and harm relationships, creating a negative cycle. Ignorance, moha. Ignorance is the lack of understanding that prevents one from seeing the true nature of reality. Analysis, awareness capacity. Ignorance often leads to failing to recognize that everything is impermanent and transient. We may get caught in the illusion that what we have is permanent. Example: a person does not realize that their life depends on the approval of others. When they do not receive it, they feel suffering. Understanding the Four Noble Truths and the three poisons of craving, anger, and ignorance helps us recognize and mitigate suffering in life. By practicing mindfulness, letting go of unnecessary desires, and enhancing understanding, we can live a more peaceful and meaningful life. The Four Noble Truths are not just theoretical. They are specific practices that guide us on the journey to seeking happiness and liberation. Today, we will explore the Four Noble Truths, the profound truths of the Buddha's teachings through the story of a young woman named Maya. Since childhood, Maya had always dreamed of a perfect life, free from suffering and failure. But life is not an easy dream. She faced countless hardships, losses, wounds, and disappointments, leading her to ask, why is life so full of pain? The first noble truth, the truth of suffering, explains that suffering is an inevitable part of life. From the moment we are born, we experience both physical and emotional pain, from illness, separation, to death. Suffering cannot be avoided. Maya gradually realized that it was her unending desires, the wish for a perfect life, that had drawn her into the endless cycle of suffering. The second noble truth, the truth of the origin of suffering, revealed to Maya that the root cause of suffering is craving and attachment. Maya saw that her clinging to material things, fame, and fleeting happiness had led her away from true inner peace. One day, Maya met a meditation master. In his teachings, she found a new light. He told her that suffering can end if one looks at life with an awakened mind. This is the third noble truth, the truth of cessation. By letting go of greed, attachment, and illusions, one can find liberation and deep inner peace. From that point on, Maya committed herself to practicing the Noble Eightfold Path, the fourth truth of the Four Noble Truths. She learned to live mindfully in each moment, cultivating compassion and empathy for those around her. She realized that happiness does not come from achieving something, but from how we face reality, without judgment or attachment. Through Maya's journey, we understand that the Four Noble Truths are not just treasures, but a map for us to find happiness and peace in life. Learn to accept suffering as an inevitable part of life, let go of craving, and focus your mind on mindfulness. In doing so, like Maya, we will discover true happiness and a deep connection with those around us. Thank you for following this story. Let us continue the journey to seek truth and inner peace. If you find value in this story, don't forget to share and follow to spread even more meaningful lessons in life.